Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night. Where tonight, for Sunday Night Lights, we come to you live and exclusive on Top Split TV at Watkins, Glen. Fantastic track, of course. And this week we are here for round 10, if I'm not mistaken. And joining me once again in the booth is Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, great field here once again, and another big week ahead of us.
Yes, indeed, Alex, and at a track that is so steeped in history as well, having previously held Formula One races, IndyCar races, and NASCAR races, just to name a few. This should be a fairly exciting race with a strong strength of field there, Alex.
Yeah, strength of field here tonight, 4,310. I think that goes as close as we can to being our top strength of field of the season. We see Mr. Hendrickson take the extra special long way round the final couple of corners there. Tim Hendrickson joining us once again. Great to see Tim back, of course. But the strength of field here tonight, 4,310. So biggest by a long shot. If you don't include the warm-up race, it's around 900 I rating higher than the next closest strength of field. Of course, those of you playing at home, or those of you who don't know, strength of field is roughly the average skill rating of all the drivers here tonight. The bigger the strength, or the higher the strength of field, higher the rating of the drivers here each and every week means there is more to play for, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex, and that is what everyone is here for. This is why we hold these events, so we can get everyone with the highest I rating we possibly can to try and rise up some of our local talent a little bit in the hopes that we can get them up to the standard of being some of these top-rated drivers, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely right, Corey. We want to get the big guns out here to platform for our local drivers as much as we like to attract the internationals. So we do have a few ANZ guys out there. In fact, about 5 or 6, which is great to see. The leading plated driver here, or the least, I suppose we should put the quali standings up as they are to this point. No one set a time just yet. The highest numbered or rated driver once again for ANZ is, of course, Mr. Ben Snell, representing Team Milo. See, the camera angles are not great here tonight, folks. We'll do what we can with them to try and find some good ones. Team Milo's own Ben Snell leading the charge for the local contingent. Just seeing who else is here. Kevin Henderson, car 14, of course, another local boy, and he's been here pretty much since the beginning. The other Team Milo driver and Russell Clark joining us. Greg Barber, a very strong driver. We spoke to him after the race last week, and what could have been for him in that one. And then finally, just sneaking in was Mr. John Scholz, who I'm not sure if he's given up on his hopes of taking out Div 2 this season, Corey, but perhaps one that could have been this season.
Well, I hope that he hasn't given up his hopes, because he's still, I think, personally, in with a fair chance. And if he can get a good result tonight, then that will definitely boost his confidence a bit. And hopefully we can see him performing well again in the future. As I'm seeing him just about to come across to finish his first flying lap. So far, we've got Sammy J. Toykala on top of the poles. Skolty comes in 5th place there with a 2:11.613, Alex.
Yeah, decent time for it, but of course we know it's the second lap that really counts in these cars. Now, while those guys are doing that second lap, why don't we check out the current standings? If I just hide that for a minute. In the overall season, we've got Sammy J. Toykala there in P1. He's tied with his Finnish compatriot Timi Vaskalampi. Håkon Grebstad, the Norwegian, only just down a bit because he's had a 0-point race, and the drop rounds have not kicked in for him as yet, although for everyone else they are, because he missed one round. Leading ANZ driver was the aforementioned Greg Barber, with Ben Snell tucked in behind him in 7th and 8th respectively. Greg Barber with only the 6 races counting, so plenty to play for him here tonight. Hopefully he will jump up a bit in those standings and take out a good result here tonight, Corey.
Well, that is the ultimate hope of every driver here. You don't make it to the top split to just putt around in last, Alex. Everyone's out here to try and win. And if you can do it with a low number, which means that you got a lower I rating than some of the guys in the back, in the front of the pack, then it means that you stand to gain a lot. As we can see, like Sammy J, he's no slouch. He's got 4,066 I rating. He's only the 10-plated car in this race, Alex. So it just goes to speak to the quality of the field that we've gathered here tonight at Watkins.
Yeah, Smurf and Sammy J. Don't let the number on the car or the I rating fool you. He's one to watch for sure, and he is, of course, sitting on top of the pops at the moment in terms of the quality. Simon Edwards has parked it. Let's see what Goulet can do. Toy Carla is just ahead of him, I think. Now, if we watch, get rid of that one so we can see. 2010.7 the leading time at the moment. 2009.7 is what he said, but at 9.4 by Toy Carla actually beat him there. So Toy Carla holding on to pole, but Grebstad having set an immaculate time there. I'm just wondering. John Scholz has crossed the line now. Henderson, he looks like he's already crossed. Snell coming across now. What's he done here? No, it's not going to tell me what he's done. 2:30.9. Well, something's gone wrong there. I was about to say he didn't get a set of time, but then he did. It just wasn't a very good one, unfortunately. Just trying to see if there's anyone still out there. Enzo Cantor still out there, but he will have set a time. Barber just sorting out the final parts of his cool down. And now I'm on board with Anthony Catt, one of the few guys who I think has done every single race here with us this season. One of the few overseas drivers that have, although Toy Carla and Vascalampis most certainly have. Let's see what he can do as we approach the exit of the final corner now. Coming up to cross the line with just the 7 seconds remaining. 5 as he crosses the line. Only manages a 2:10.136, but that was good enough to grab him P6 in the end. Now, let's go check out our qualification results and the grid for tonight's race. P1 went to Sammy J. Toy Carla, the 209.4. Team Ovaltine's own Håkon Grebstad, back up right near the front. Hasn't been qualifying too well tonight. That's a fantastic result for him in P2. P3, the proud Belgian driver of Sacha Goulet from Simatok eSport. P4 on the grid, Julian O'Fray, who is hoping for a better result than what he managed last week. Unfortunate incident taking his chances away from him. P5, Kevin Henderson, leading ANZ driver on the grid. Top 5 quality there. Great job, Kevin. Anthony Catt, we just saw across the line there from UK&I in P6. Cristobal Otero Roman from across Simart Competition, also a Twitch streamer. Check out K34 Sim Racing, I think it is, P7 tonight. Timu Vascalampi in P8 from Finland, joint championship leader. P9, Toshimasa Hanada from Japan. P10, Sebastian Schultz from a regular now in this series with us. John Scholz from Team Venom Racing in P11. Tim Hendrickson, Team Torpedo Zone in P12. Surprised to see Tim that far back. Expect him to come through the field. P13, representing Team Milo, Russell Clark. Simon Edwards, he did let it go in the pits early in P14. Another one to expect to come through the field, as we would expect to see Ben Snell, the other Team Milo driver, starting from P15. Greg Barber, another one we would expect to see come through the field, as is Enzo Cantor. I tell you what, there's a few people who have missed quality tonight. Thrustmaster Mivano's own Enzo Cantor's one of those. P18 tonight from Chinmai Christo Punukulo Kolu. Oh, man. That's a mouthful. Sorry, Chinmai. Well, Corey, that's about how they start. Let's. It's now time to find out where they finish, mate. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, it's hard to go past Sammy J, but with Håkon starting this far up the grid, he's definitely going to be in with a chance. And having someone like Sacha Goulet starting from third, this race is going to be exciting, Alex, as we get the green flag and we are off and racing as they thunder down to turn number 1.
Thunder they do, as we see Smurf and Sammy J take the inside line there, defending slightly from Grebstad, who runs wide. Of course, you can run wide through the first corner here without a problem of incident point or damage. Right beside him, as we see up the back straight this time through the S's of 2, 3 and 4. Let the draft fest begin. Where will the strategy take these drivers here tonight on lap 1 of 11, Corey?
Well, at the moment, it's taken us to a very close battle here for the lead so far, Alex. These cars are almost 3 wide going up the straight, going into the bus stop. Who will survive the bus stop? We've got contact already. Oh no, I can't tell who that is who's just spun out. But someone just going wildly through the grass there, Alex.
Oh, I'll tell you what, there's a few cars that have looked to go a bit second hand through there. It might have been, yeah, I think it was Cat. Why don't we grab a quick replay there? He was a fair way through. Oh no, that's not him. Where did he go? Up here. There we go. We'll hop on board him here in a second with Mr. Cat. Oh, he's raced to the inside here. And then as he's gone through, he's just overshot. And then I tell you what, that could have been very messy. But in the end, he pulls it up on the apex of the exit. And all that carnage that was behind him was not his making. There's a few very sickly looking cars out of that. And unfortunately, it was, or fortunately in some respects, it was the tail end of the field. But as we saw from our grid tonight, Corey, there were plenty of big names at the back of this grid who are potentially no longer in the running.
Yeah, exactly, Alex. And unfortunately, one of the people caught up in that incident was AusNZ's own Ben Snell. He came into contact while everyone was checking up there for the stricken car on the outside of the corner. But as we come across now to finish the first lap, Sammy J. Toyakala has amassed himself already 1.2 second lead over Håkon Grebstad. We've got Al Frey and Kevin Henderson there. Kevin making a mistake going through turn 1, and he's just put the cat amongst the pigeons there a little bit, and everyone got a little bit crazy, but it looks like we're starting to get themselves sorted out now as we head back up to that back straight there, Alex.
Yeah, I'm just saying there was a bit of an incident into turn 1. It was actually Grebstad that came out loose in the end, but then we're on here with Sebastian Schultz, and he's just been, he's been picked up by the other team, Milo Car and Russell Clark, as he's lost it on the way out. And of course, he's so committed through there that Russell, essentially, despite the width of that track, had nowhere to go. And unfortunately, both team Milo cars now trailing at the rear of this field. There's a lot of red at the bottom of that Christmas tree there in the standings as we go only on lap 2 of 11 here tonight. The strength of field belying some of the carnage here as we see Sammy J. Toyakala, as you say, he's starting to run away with this one. 1.7 seconds ahead of Hendrickson. I tell you what though, if there's anyone in this field that can pull back a flying Finn, it'll be the Flying Dutchman in Mr. Hendricks, representing Team Torpedo, of course, here tonight. But he's got an angry pack of Skip Barber racing cars stuck right to his tailpipe there, Corey.
Well, as you said, if anyone can do it, it is definitely Hendrickson, and I'm so glad to see him back racing with us, as he just got overtaken very smoothly by Mr. Al Frey there. And this angry pack, you know, they appear very angry, but we've got a spinner there in the back. I wasn't quite sure who that was.
It's Rahman.
Rahman? Oh, that is unfortunate for Rahman. He was in a very good position there, and that is going to affect him greatly as the P11, the 11th plated car. He was up in the P5 there at one point, and that's just all slipped far away from him now there, Alex.
Yeah, it looks like the rear of the car just went through that very tricky turn 9. And plenty of different categories of car that the rear of the car will step out there. I don't know whether it's just the elevation change and the camber there, but the rear of almost every car I've ever driven around here is very loose through there. So unfortunately, that one catching out Rahman, who is, I think, the lone Iberian here tonight. So the Iberian folks watching at home won't be terribly happy with that one at all, Corey.
No, unfortunately not, but that is unfortunately the way that this motor race goes. As we go back onto this battle for second, they were 3 wide momentarily, but it looks like Tim Hendrickson has come out on top of that little stoush, and Tim and Julian have now been separated by Kevin Henderson, who has been on for some good results. He did fairly well in the last race, albeit with maybe a little bit of aggro towards him towards the latter stages of the previous race there, Alex.
Yeah, that's correct. He's certainly got the pace around here. It's whether or not he can hang with these big guys longer term. He's certainly got the pace to go early on. It's whether or not it lasts the whole race. That's the big question. Just behind that pack of three, fighting for the second and third steps on the dice, you've got Timo Vascalampi leading Grebstad, Hanada and Gourlay in another pack of four cars there, looking to make every poster winner here, or at least do what they can to bridge the gap, which is about a 1.8, 1.9 second gap between them and the second bunch of three there fighting for the podium. But these guys certainly not necessarily racing for sheep stations, but certainly pride on the line tonight here, Corey.
And for some people, Alex, that pride is pretty much a sheep station. If you ask me, like when I race on dirt, the pride's definitely up there with the sheep station. But these guys are battling it out. This second pack is just line to stern. They want to catch these guys in front, and possibly Sammy J as well. As you can see, they're in the draft, but they're not necessarily trying to make a move. And speaking of making a moves, I've seen one up in the foreground there. Looks like Hendrickson has gone very wide. They even got loose on the excess road of the turn one there, Alex, and they slipped back to P4.
Yes, up through the S's now. Costly for Hendrickson, but not too bad because he's still well and truly within the draft now. But we do see the leading ANZ driver in Kevin Henderson. He is now on the front of that pack. So we hop on board now with Hendrickson now, just sitting gently in the draft. He may well lift here as they break. Oh no, he shows the nose. Oh, I tell you what, that would have been a scary moment for O'Fray. I'm not sure that Hendrickson was actually committed to the move there, but certainly gave O'Fray something to think about there, Corey.
Yeah, I think he's been watching some old NASCAR videos of when our Marcus Ambrose was racing around here, Alex, when Marcus showed the nose to, I believe it was a young Bush, and made him go straight through the bus stop and took the position. But as you can see, this leading pack here, the second pack here, is starting to string out a little bit, and that's bringing these guys in behind, in with a chance to catch up to Hendrickson there, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. That's showing the nose there, perhaps costing Hendrickson more than he planned for, because now you've got Grebstad on the front of that hard-charging trailing pack now within 7/10 actually, and I'm wondering if Hendrickson's got a problem, because they are catching him hand over fist here, and these four cars here of Grebstad, Gourlay, Vascalampi and Hanada, they are charging like that of the Light Brigade, and they are now just 4/10 behind Hendrickson, led by Grebstad now. And again, I'm wondering if Hendrickson's got some sort of an issue. Yeah, look, he's pulling off into the pits. He must have picked up some damage as he goes through the pits now. That does explain how that gap closed so quickly there, Corey.
Yeah, that would explain a lot, Alex. I'm not sure whether he would have got it at the bus stop there from hitting the curb too hard, or whether maybe him tripping over the exit curb in turn one might have done it. But that is a big shame to see for Hendrickson to be in the pits this early. I'm going back to this battle pack that was chasing him now, and these guys are still looking fairly feisty now. You see, we got Grebo in the front, and around his outside is Sasha now. They're almost going to make it 3 wide as they're going along the back straight. I'm pretty sure that's Vascalampi on the far outside there. And he does take them all and takes that 4th position there, Alex.
They've done very well to get back line of stern through there, haven't they? Jumped on board briefly with Vascalampi, but I'll tell you what, the camera angles here aren't doing us any favours, of course. But I got there only in time to see him. Oh, as we see Gourlay right up his tailpipe there. We'll just hop on board with the proud Belgian here once again as he pulls to the outside now of Vascalampi. Lifts, lets him through. As I was saying, only grabbed on board shot with Vascalampi in time to see all the cars disappear behind him as they got to the approach of the bus stop. But we see Gourlay now from Simotok Esport pull to the inside, looking to get the move done. Yes, he is, as they approach the hill now. Lap 5 of 11. and the guys continue around there. I'm not sure how much is in the offing in terms of times gained or lost there. Probably slower, if anything, if they're going to battle through the mid stages, not just leapfrog on the straights, Corey.
Yeah, and that is the ultimate question, Alex, because we've seen some tracks where the leapfrog technique does work, but we've also seen a lot where it indeed does not. But it'll be up for these guys to decide whether they think it's working or not. If they think it is, then we might see more of it as this race continues and we start lap number 6. But at the moment, it looks like these guys are starting to just settle down a little bit, because I think they are wanting to catch up to Alfrey and Henderson up in 2nd and 3rd there, Alex.
Yeah, well, essentially, you don't really want to make a move and compromise your exit of turn 1, because you've got a flat section in terms of at least your acceleration. So it's essentially more or less a straight from turn 1 until you hit the bus stop. So compromising your exit of turn 1 is really not what you want to do, as we see Vascalampi now pulling to the outside of Gourlay and Grebstad. Yes, sir, I will make it three wide. And yes, sir, can I have some more, he says, because I'll have all those positions as they go through the bus stop on the early stages of lap 6 now. And once again, all line astern that they make it as they shuffle the cards in that deck once more, although the exit from Vascalampi not the best one, and Grebstad perhaps thinking this is my chance to get away. As we jump back up front, or at least up further up front, we've got O'Fray and Henderson locked in a tight duel now for the minor positions on the podium, but the podium nonetheless, as we see the lapped Team Milo car of Russell Clark there, just tucked in behind our leader, Sammy J. Toikala, who at this stage has 2.6 second lead over the trailing drivers here tonight there, Corey.
Yeah, indeed, Alex. And while you were watching that battle, I was watching Sammy J's closing speed on Russell. And Russell was definitely very generous with giving him the spot. I think Russell just looking to maybe get into Sammy J's draft a little bit, just to try and get some little bit of pride back as far as his times go, because his fastest at the moment is a sultry 2 minutes 20.5 there, Alex. But Sammy J, who's going to be able to stop him? He is so far out in front, I don't think anyone has anything left in the tank for him, Alex.
I'll tell you, the closest person to him in terms of time, so Sammy J, he has set a 2:08.4. O'Frey's got a 2:08.3, but we know that would have been with the benefit of draft. So, you know, just a mere 10th draft assisted, as we see Henderson and O'Frey now go through turn 1 up. We'll run through the S's now at the start of lap 7. Really, with a 3.1 second gap. So you're going to half a second through that last section of the track on the tail end of lap 6 there, as they go side by side through the S's there once again. Henderson leading O'Frey now. Really, they little to no answer is what I'm going to say. Now, that second trailing pack there led now by Gourlay as Grebstad lifts a little bit into the bus stop there and allows the 3 trailing cars to go line astern once again. Corey, really, it looks like no one's got answer to Toikala's pace here tonight.
Yeah, pretty much, Alex. It's definitely looking like the big battles are going to be for 2nd and 4th here, because everyone else is just strung out and out of contention at the moment. It looks like on my little timing monitor here, the next biggest battle would be the one for 8th place, involving Enzo and John Saltz. Team Venom there right up behind Enzo, who is having, I wouldn't say a bad performance, a bad showing, but it's certainly not one of his better ones there, Alex.
Well, he's up 9 positions from where he started, so he's not going too bad, really. Quality was his problem, of course. Enzo having had a couple of weeks off, joining us back in the series here again for round 10. He had a few weeks off with family, but I'm wondering if he's got a bit left in the gas tank, so to speak, in terms of getting some practice in, because he certainly seems to have pace enough. I mean, he's done he's done a 2:09.7, so he's about 1.3 off Sammy J. Toikala in the lead, so perhaps I overstated that a bit. He's a bit short of a run is perhaps the only thing I can see, because we know Enzo does have the pace, the Thrustmaster Movano driver, But John Scholz here, who are riding on board with us, they come towards the tail end of lap 8, across the line now, I beg your pardon, to start lap 8. He's lifting on the approach into turn 1 as they come through the smoke of someone in the front. That looks like a blown engine ahead of them there, Corey. You got any news for us?
I wish I did, Alex, but unfortunately, I was like you watching that battle back there with Enzo. I'm pretty sure that was the 14 of Kevin Henderson. I think he might have money shifted going through the first corner, Alex.
Henderson. I'm going to have to revive the Egg and Bacon Award for the most blown engines in a season. I think that's Kevin's second one this season. And you're right, it is one K. Henderson who has, in somewhat disastrous circumstances, hit the pits and cost himself a dead set podium there. Oh, Hendo. Tragedy has struck the leading ANZ driver here tonight. But back up front now we have O'Fray and Grebstad. Are our second and third. Oh, Clark trying to get out of the way, trying to take some of his teammates' skills on board, do a bit of drifting through the toe there at turn 7. But O'Fray now the lone soldier in P2. Grebstad now really the only one in the battle for that final step on the podium. But now they've really got something to play for. This pack of 4 cars. Sorry, I saw Clark there in the background, but it's actually 4 cars of Grebstad, Gourlay, Vascalampi and Hanada now battling out for that last step on the podium there, Corey.
Yeah, exactly, Alex. And unfortunately, Grebo did have a bit of an unfortunate circumstance in the last race here, the precursor event to this top split race. Hopefully, he will have better luck here tonight, Alex, as he's still holding on to this 3rd place with every mite of skill that he's got. Sasha goes for a big inside run down towards the inside wall. I'm not sure if that gained him any kind of advantage. It doesn't look like it has. But he is now under attack by the 7 of Vascalampi as they go through turn number 1 there, Alex.
Yeah, my guess is, to be honest, he pulled out of the draft to make sure that his gap to Grebstad at the start of this section was enough to get him on the front of the pack, because often the guy in 3rd has got the best run once the draft kicks in. And it's not, see how close he got there at the exit of the S's. He was right on the tailpipe, even though he was, half a second behind at the start of it. Grebstad now boxing in Vascalampi on the outside, run into the bus stop, and there you go. That strategy out of the final corner sees Gourlay on the front of this pack on the exit of the bus stop as they go through the carousel. The mid stage is lap 9, Corey.
Yeah, and that was a very smart move indeed. I'm sure I didn't understand the mechanics of it at the time, but seeing it in action, that was quite the incredible plan. And well done on Grebstad for holding onto that 4th place there. He's definitely going to be looking at battling the back and trying to get 3rd place back. You see, he is right up the tailpipe of Gourlay at the moment. But he still has to worry about Vascalampi and Hanada right there behind him there, Alex.
Yeah, he sure does. I'm riding on board with Vascalampi at the moment as we see the Goodyear blimp up in the sky there, setting a bit of the ambiance, so to speak, as they head through the heel now, turn 8, on the approach to this tricky turn 9. Vascalampi now tucked in behind him, his 3rd of this pack of 4. See again, really sharp turning, controls the rear of the car nicely there. Excellent rotation there from Vascalampi. Sitting in P5, of course, here tonight, but looking to make the most of what he can with just the balance, 2 laps remaining as they cross the line this time. Vascalampi now in the middle of this big battle for the final step on the podium there, Corey.
That's right, Alex, and Vascalampi has definitely been one of the guys to watch this season, as we see Grebo now trying to pull Gourlay's trick of pulling down to the inside of the track to gain that little bit of a gap. Vascalampi closed right in onto the back of Grebo, so Vascalampi might be looking to go with Grebo to the front of this little battle pack as they come onto the back straight. At the moment, they're still line to stern. As you can see, Grebo is picking up the draft, and he's picking it up very quickly. He's closed right in on the back of Sasha, and he goes to the outside on the corner to make the move. It looks like they're side by side. Vascalampi didn't quite have enough to get a run going, and Grebo is back in the lead of this pack now, Alex.
Yeah, interestingly, Grebstad not. Oh, he's got a poor run through the bus stop there. That'll check them all up. Or will Gourlay have a look? No, Gourlay settles in behind, and Vascalampi was lifting all the way in the tail ends of that back straight there. Oh, he gets a really bumpy ride on the exit of the carousel as they go through the chute now. Lap 10, just 1.5 laps remaining for these guys. Vascalampi now really tucked in behind. He was lifting all the way up that back straight. But unfortunately, Grebstad not really getting the run that Gourlay had previously, perhaps not managing the gap quite as well, and actually compromised his exit, and he didn't get as quick a run up the back straight as he would have liked perhaps. But these guys are all going through the dress rehearsals for that final lap there, because that is the key passing opportunity through the carousel. You can get it done here as well through the hill at turn 8. Those two are the critical passing opportunities on that final lap, and these guys will be having a few dress rehearsals to see what they can get done and what they can get done where, Corey.
And another note to add on to that, Alex, in some of the shots that I'm seeing, these guys are closing in on Al Frey, and they're closing in on him with some pace. Since Al Frey lost his buddy and Kevin Henderson, he has lost a lot of the pace that he had. He only lost, as I got to move my time screen over a little bit, he was only a couple of tenths off of these guys on the last laps. But, you know, these guys are closing in on him there, Alex, as they start the last lap. Big dive bomb in from the back there as Hanada goes to try and get that position on Vascalampi in turn 1, Alex.
Yeah, Hanada says it's time to go, and go time it is, although Vascalampi managed to hang on there through the greater exit speed through turn 1 there, but that will not have been what he wanted on the last lap, because that will have compromised his run, as we see now. We'll hop on board with him once again. What's he going to do? Oh, he's going to make it 3 wide. He's made room. The seas are parted, and it's Vascalampi's going to have the inside running into the bus stop. So that's the first of the 2 key points. They're side by side. They go Gourlay and Grebstad now side by side. That's how you get it done, folks. That's some awesome driving there from those two. The carousel, the inside run now to Grebstad. Grebstad has the inside run out of the chute, the carousel into the chute now. Vascalampi's timed it perfectly. Thought his run was compromised out of the first corner by Hanada's lunging move into turn 1, but it has in fact worked out well for him now as Grebstad takes a defensive line from Gourlay into the toe now at turn 7. Now this short straight on the exit of the sweeping right-hander is where these final positions will get sorted. Grebstad straight over to the right-hand side of the circuit, taking the defensive line. I've seen it done before, though. Can Gourlay get it done around the outside of the heel here now? He's going to have a go. He's got it done. Has he got it done? Indeed. He's got the inside run now into turn 9, and he did in fact get it done. What will Grebstad do now in the final stages, Corey? Can he get it back?
Oh, we can definitely going to see and find out, Alex, as we got our leader, Sammy J, coming across the line now. This battle is absolutely intense. Hawkon looking for... Oh, no, Hawkon's off in the grass. I was going to say he's going to look for that inside run going into the final corner, but he would have lost all that momentum, spinning his wheels up in the grass. Julian Alfrey in second. It looks like we're going to have Vascalampi in third, Gourlay in fourth. Grebstad coming home 5th, and Hanada in P6 there, Alex.
Yeah, let's go back and see if we can't see what happened through that final little stretch there. Grebstad got very close to Gourlay through that penultimate corner there, and I'm just wondering if he understeered or he just carried a bit too much speed. You know, these cars don't have a lot of downforce, but you can get some understeer if you're tucked in close, and tucked in close he certainly was. Re-enters the track safely. Doesn't cost him the position to Hanada, but certainly cost him the opportunity at 4th position there, with the very skillful effort of Vascalampi leaving him on the front of that pack and finishing on the final step of the podium. Now, I think we've got pretty much everyone done and dusted, although I think I've got what's Rahman doing? He's finished. I'm just seeing if there's anyone still left across the line. Yeah, Edwards just coming across the line now. Sebastian Schultz, who's there behind Sebastian, or maybe on a cool down lap? Seb Schultz now, 5th plated car. not where he wanted to be, certainly tonight. And great to see him back out here, though, because he's been a great supporter of the series this season as he crosses the line to round out his effort at Sunday Night Lights this week. Now, let's take a look at our final results for round 10 here from Watkins Glen. Sammy J. Toikala, they're grabbing a flag-to-flag victory there, the 10-plated car here tonight from Finland. Great result from Sammy J, and he will no doubt jump to the top of the pops in the overall SNL standings. P2 tonight, Julian O'Fray started out as a bit of an action-packed race, ended up being quite lonely for Julian, some 5 seconds behind our winner. P3, the other flying Finn in Teemu Vaskalampi, some 9 seconds off the lead, but a great battle nonetheless throughout with some of his competitors there, Sasha Gourlay being one of them from Simatok Esport in P4. Great drive from Sasha. He was down 1 position. I thought he might be up, but it was Teemu Vaskalampi who was actually up 5. Great drive from both of them. Håkon Grebstad similarly was in it up to his neck, representing Team Ovaltine tonight, finishing in P5. Toshimasa Hanada, I believe that's Toshi's best result here on a Sunday night, so congratulations to him in P6. Enzo Cantor, Thrustmaster Mivano Race's own. He is up 10 positions from where he started. So he may not have had the fastest lap out there, but I tell you what, he had the hardest charge through the pack there tonight in P7. P8, John Scholz for Team Venom doing a fantastic job. Ended up being the leading ANZ driver here tonight. Maybe as much as a surprise to him, I don't know, but a fantastic drive from John. P9 to Cristobal Otero Romanov across Simart Competition, leading Iberian, in fact, solo Iberian driver here tonight, I think. Greg Barber, car 17 here tonight, P10, great top 10 for him, but perhaps caught up in those early incidents. Team Torpedo's own Tim Hendrickson, right up the front early on, steering damage taking him out, leaving him in P11. Anthony Catt from UK&I, relegated to P12 after the early stages of the race. P13 went to Chinmay Christo Kolu. Oh, man, Chinmay, sorry, mate. But P13 is all he could manage here tonight. P14 to Simon Edwards, the number 1 plated car. Costly result for him, no doubt. Seb Schultz in P15, of course. Russell Clark, BDR, Team Milo's own, leading Team Milo driver here tonight, leaving in P16, leaving our 2 retirements in no doubt shattered and disappointed Kevin Henderson in P17 and Ben Snell, the other Team Milo driver, in P18 tonight. Strength of field, of course, was 4,310, biggest bumper field of the week, and undrafted 208.1 for Sammy J. Toikala has the fastest lap of the race, Corey. That's some impressive driving.
It is for sure, Alex. I don't think I could get a 208.51 here with or without draft, if I'm completely honest. But Sammy J, he is unstoppable. I don't think we have a single person who was able to get anywhere near him this entire race. It just goes to speak to the skill of the man. He was only the 10th plated car, but he showed tonight that he was number 1 there, Alex.
Yeah, mate, that was a fantastic drive, wasn't it? Sammy J putting on a clinic, really, in the end. But let's jump to some of our interviews now. I'll just slow that down a little bit. First up tonight, we'll see how we go. He was a bit lost for words last week, but we'll see how we go with Mr. Vaskalampi. Teemu, mate, you got up there to P3 in the end. How was the drive out there for you?
Well, this was a little different week for me. I was on a bit of a holiday, so no practice and no sleep and a bit too much of a drink. So this is better result than what I expected, especially after failing my qualifier. So
yeah, made up 5 positions. It was good.
Yeah, I take the third. I was just sitting behind Sasha and Håkon and waiting for last lap. I didn't feel confident to start fighting with them. Yeah. So that worked out.
Yeah, mate, it certainly did. You went from 3rd to 1st in that pack there, and the fighting that happened in behind certainly gave you that gap enough to get away, and then they were fighting over the scraps in the end. So it was a good outcome for you, up 5 positions from where you started on the grid, mate, and a really solid performance. But I think Mr. Toykala might have just jumped ahead of you certainly in the Sunday Night Lights points, if nothing else. But maybe
Yeah,
that intra finish challenge will see you out to the end of the season and give us plenty more racing, I hope.
yeah. Let's see. Sami was lucky again. No skills, only luck.
Well, I'm sure he'll listen to that and he'll thank you for every bit of that. But listen, Tiva, thanks once again for your support of the series. We really appreciate you out there putting on a good show. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Well, you guys for broadcasting this and for nice top split community, and for every skipper driver who still drives the car that is a bit broken. It's still fun. So thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Timu, mate, and we'll talk to you in the coming weeks.
Okay, bye.
There you go, Corey. That was Timu Vescalampi, who finished third here tonight. Great drive from Timu. And we got a bit better with the interview this week too.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to see him so positive and still having fun, even with the Skippy being that little bit broken. Hopefully, in the next coming weeks, when we go into week 13 and get the new updates, the time model will get fixed. But, as long as we're still having fun, that's all that matters, Alex.
Yeah, 100% correct. I agree. And it is good to have guys like Timu express those sort of sentiments. It's not just the likes of you and me, mate, that like getting out there and having a blast in these cars. There's some really quick drivers in amongst them as well. So great to hear from Timu. Good result as well. Next on our finishers list was the driver of Mr. Grebstad, Håkon Grebstad, joining us in the booth once again.
Good day.
Håkon, mate, great quali, and then the race unfolded perhaps not as you'd expected, but certainly it was a bit of fun there by the looks, at least.
Yeah, well, started off well, qualified in second, and in the bus stop, someone wanted to pass 5 cars on the tightest line, and it didn't work.
Yeah, it tends to cause a bit of problems. I saw that a couple of times this week where 3 into 1 just doesn't go. Although I have to say, you and Sasha in that last race, that last run through the bus stop there, side by side on the way in, through, and then on the way out, mate. That was a great piece of driving from both of you. I bet you were on the edge of your seat for that one.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, obviously, I would have liked to be behind Sammy on that one throughout the race, but Kat Sendiget screwed me out of that. Lost the second to Sammy, and then obviously made my own mistake trying to catch back up.
Yeah, funny, we're just riding on board when the rear of the car let go there in replay just now through turn 1, and it dropped you half a dozen cars back by the looks, and you did well to fight back from there, mate, so that was good. But great to see you back on track, mate, representing Team Ovaltine, of course. Only P5 here tonight, but that should get you right back up there in Sunday Night Lights championship contention, because you had a 0-point drop round, so plenty of points there, and we'll have to see how that washes up. But before we let you go, mate, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, I gotta give a shout out to, of course, you guys for doing the broadcast every week, and the drivers that show up every week.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Thanks for that. We do appreciate it, as we do your patronage on track, mate. So we look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks, and we'll catch you next time.
Sure will. See you, Alex.
Yeah, Corey, Mr. Håkon Grebstad, the Norwegian representative, I should say. He and Team Milo, of course. Or Team Ovaltine. Oh, no. Wash my mouth out. Team Ovaltine's own Håkon Grebstad. I even had it written on the screen. I couldn't get it right, Corey.
Oh, that's unfortunate, Alex. But the battle of the drink brands there is definitely one that's hotly contested, and Håkon showing that he was a bit more superior than our Milo this week. But that move between him and Sasha through the bus stop on that final lap, that was magic, Alex.
Yeah, fantastic driving from both drivers. Actually, really showed a lot of skill and respect. So very impressed with that. We will bring up next Miss Thrustmaster Mivano's own Enzo Cantor. Enzo, mate, hard charging driver of the night award, up 10 positions tonight to grab your P7 finish, mate. How was the racing out there for you?
Hi guys. Well, obviously I'm not happy at all for the race because my car was damaged after the disaster caused by Anthony in the first lap. So I was sure I would be not able to have the pace to catch the first train. But the most important thing that is that finally today Timo explained to me how tires works in the qualifying, because probably I never understood well this. So again, I did another disaster qualify today because I had two spoons in the first one in the out lap, and the second in the first fast lap. Tires temperature went down, and probably I burned out my tires, and I understand today that I have to be very slow in the first lap and very gentle in the second without sliding at all, and I can push so very hard only in the second first lap. But I didn't know this before, so I was I was. I cannot believe that I was in the last position. So in this track, that is one of the track I love much than the others. So I prayed for a clean first lap, but it was not clean, and so very boring race. Congratulations to Sami for the win.
Yeah, Sammy had a great drive up front. But yeah, it's an interesting point that you make about the tyres, and I'll probably go into it more in one of the podcast episodes coming up, because it's certainly one for people to know about, mate. But look, great drive again. Great to have you back after a couple of weeks off with family. So appreciate your support in the series, representing Thrustmaster Mivano Racing, of course. So thank you once again, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight before we let you go?
Yeah, surely. I have to say thanks to my team, Trasmaster Milano Racing, all my sponsors, my team manager, Fabio Mantellini, all my teammates, you for the broadcast. I tried today to come back without enough practice, but it was not so good. Next time, I think I understand how qualify works, so I hope in a better qualify.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Well, that being said, mate, had certainly had the pace to burn out there tonight, and a good quality run. Now that you know how it's done on these tyres, we'll certainly, hopefully, have you right up the pointy end next week. So thanks once again for joining us, mate. We look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.
Thank you. See you in the coming weeks.
There you go, Corey. That is a tip for young players. Well brought up there by Enzo. This tyre model has its challenges, most certainly, but in their attempts to, I guess, fix the issues in the interim, iRacing have introduced a situation whereby if you slide or get a half spin or overcook the tyres in any way in your opening couple of laps, 2 laps, because remember you got your out lap, one timed lap and then the second time lap. So if you, in those opening 2, cook the tyres in any way, you are handicapped tremendously. It was to avoid an exploit that people were doing where they were doing burnouts and what have you to raise the temperature, because once the temperature comes into the tyre in a legitimate fashion, you got grip for days. So in an attempt to prevent what was perhaps a bit of an exploit, unfortunately it's gone the other way, and you've got to go handle the thing with cotton wool on the first couple of laps in the hope of really laying down a fast one at the end there, mate.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is some of the problems that we face when iRacing wants to introduce a new tyre model to the extreme of the way that they did with this one. You know, there's always going to be complainers, and not that in this case Enzo is a complainer, but there's always going to be issues as well, both one way or the other, and it just takes a lot of fine tuning. Like a lot of work would go into trying to get the tire model to be exactly right. They're close, but they just didn't quite nail it on the head with this. But hopefully, in the upcoming build, iRacing will be able to work on it a little bit better for the mass introduction into some of the other categories as well. That will improve that general system of how the tires get warmed, Alex.
Absolutely, mate. They've got a lot of things right lately. This is one thing they need to work on, but I have no doubt they're working hard in the back office, mate. But one more interview here now. I just gave a shout out or a bit of a screen time there to Cristobal Otero Romano, who has hosted us here for the race. Thank you, Cristobal. One of our regular Iberians here, of course, our final driver, one of the ANZ boys, was Mr. Ben Snell, who I can't even get. I'll have to go back a bit further to see if I can't find him on the track. Ben, not the race you were looking for, mate, no doubt.
Oh, the SNL curse continues, doesn't it? I can't buy a good result this season.
No, mate, it looked like it came unstuck pretty early too, unfortunately. Lap 1 through the bus stop is not fun at the best of times, depending on, well, up the front it could be all right, although you can get swamped from the back, of course. So pole's not always a blessing, but certainly in the mid to rear field it can be absolute chaos, which is as it turned out tonight, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I need to also apologise to Simon Edwards because I didn't react quick enough to the massive checkup that was through the bus stop on that one. So I killed us both pretty severely. So sorry, Simon.
Yeah, mate, I'm sure the apology is much appreciated. And anyway, mate, we go on bigger and better in the coming weeks, hopefully, and certainly looking forward to seeing you up the pointy end once again. Mate, anyone like to give a shout out to tonight?
Of course, shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast, getting all these guys out here and racing. And Russell has asked me to say hello and go Team Milo, of course.
Go Team Milo, of course. All right, thanks, Ben, mate. We'll talk to you in the coming weeks.
Catch you guys.
There you go, Corey. That was round 10 of Sunday Night Lights from Watkins Glen. What's your overall wrap-up for the race, mate?
Well, it was definitely a very interesting race, Alex, and it was exciting as we had come to expect it, with all the big drafting straights here and the fast-flowing nature of the track. Big props to Ben there for putting his hand up and say, look, I made a mistake. I wasn't ready for the checkup. It takes a big man to admit his mistakes on iRacing, because not many people do that. But yeah, Sammy J, absolutely dominant, as we've come to expect now, as we're starting to get towards the business end of this season. And, it's going to be interesting to see if anyone has actually got anything for him as we head into these final 2 rounds, Alex.
Yeah, 100% right, mate. So fantastic drive from Sammy once again. Congrats to the podium, of course, with Julian O'Fray and Timu Vascalampi as well. But for you, mate, where can the people find you this week in and around the traps?
You guys can find me over at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. I will throw up a mature content warning. Some of the language used is not suitable for most things. But hey, we have fun, and that's what counts.
That is the main thing, of course. All the other places you can find us are on the screen in front of you at the moment, including where you can hear the Top Split podcast. And the Discord community, of course, for those of you wondering at home, is where we do all the voice recording and the interviews for the race. I know I spoke to Sasha Gourlay via messaging in the week. Sasha, that's where you go if you want to join us. We'd love to hear from you and hear again what it's like in the cockpit of one of these great races. That's about it for us, folks. That's round 10, as I said, from Watkins Glen. We're back for round 11 next week as we try to chase the tail of this exciting first season for Sunday Night Lights, season 16 of the ANZ Soft Racing Series overall. Thank you once again for joining us. And until next time, on behalf of Corey Steinhauser, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and I will say ciao for now.